Okay, I'm on air. I just thought I was on air for a couple of minutes, but I wasn't. And that's just a sign of I'm doing something for the first time. And if I now connect over here, I think I'll see the live chat and we'll all be rocking and a-rolling. Oh, hang on. That's not right. Let's turn that off. Howdy, howdy, howdy. I don't know if that live chat stays on the side for the thing. So I'm back. Oh, Caleb, you're in the hotel room in Melbourne. Yay! So hey, Gamer Freak and Greg and Yori. Cat wants to. Oh no, my cat's being weird over there. Don't worry about that. So I've got this happening. Hey, Attic Addict. Now I can, because I'm all over this shiz, I can make things happen. Hello, Adele. How you doing? And I'll see, now I'm on a laptop. That gives me so much more flexibility. I can look up stuff while we're talking, share links, all that sort of thing. So let me see what else we can do. So let's look at this, let's look at the other. Yay, yeah, it is working. That thing's working. Okay, now, so we've got things happening, and I'm just going to share this on Facebook while we're talking. Okay, so back here, and I don't know if anyone will see that, but let's see. Okay, so now I'm back. So it's here. It's Thursday night. Yes, Caleb, I know I can invite people to the call. I'm probably not going to quite yet. Who else is here? Hello, Writing Days. So, oh, you had pizza, drinking beer. Good on you. Yes, Attic Addict. I think Vidcon's going to be pretty good. It will be very interesting. Gamer Freak, if you search AngryAussie on Facebook, you'll probably find me. My name on Facebook is Andrew K, K-A-Y. Hey, Aussie Brick Chick, how are you doing? This is interesting because I'm now getting the surreal experience. A little test run I did half an hour ago. I worked out that when I look at like Writing Days, Pat, how are you doing? I didn't realize that was your username, Pat. Yeah, Caleb, I'm probably going to pick up my badge tomorrow as well. I work in the city, so maybe at because they start doing registration at 12. So maybe at lunchtime I might go over there. Vidcon is a video makers conference. It's like Comic-Con, but for video people. It's a big YouTube-ish and other online video shenanigans. I sound very washed out. It would be my laptop mic. Mike. I could try and put a headset on, I guess, but and you know, like with a microphone, and that would probably be better sound quality. But this laptop is really twitchy, quite honestly. Yeah, well, it'll be interesting, Adele, about VidCon, how it goes this year, how fun it actually is, and yeah, if it happens again next year and it's worth going to. So yes, okay, Mike, you're oh my God, Mike is the sound engineer who has to test mics all the time. Mike the mic man. Ah, well, that's you're named for your career, Mike. That's what's happened there. But I learned from my test run half an hour ago, so I started saying, but there's about a 10-second delay, possibly slightly longer, when I say stuff, when I see it on the YouTube channel, and also when someone comments. Like when you type a comment, I probably see your comment about 10 seconds later. Hey Tendai, how's it going? Now, the exciting news is that we should not have any technical problems tonight, as in internet problems, because I am on my laptop and it's connected with a cable. So yes. Gamer Freak, what do I think about the hydrogen bomb with North Korea? We're all fucked. We are not all fucked because of North Korea. If we're all fucked, it will be because of things Donald Trump does. If North Korea is left alone, they will stay within their own borders. Donald Trump's provocation and Donald Trump's inability to what can I say? Inability to act like a fucking human is what places us at risk. Yes, Pat. I know which Pat it is. It's Big Pat. It's the Pat, the only Pat, the #1 Pat. So yeah, it is so weird. The well, like when I've made pre-recorded videos, or even on the live streams, it seems like for months now, the two dominant stories have been the same. It's been what colossal fuck up has Donald Trump done now, and what the fuck is happening with marriage equality in Australia. I was going to what do you call it? I was going to do a pre-recorded video, Dell, ranting about the same-sex post-marriage postal vote happening in Australia and how fucking stupid it is. I've talked about that so many times. It doesn't stop being stupid, though, because, let's see, it's unnecessary, it's meaningless, it's expensive, it gives a platform to hateful fuckwits, and there's not a single thing about it. People say, oh, the people need to have their voice. It holds no weight. It has no legal meaning. For those who don't know, because some people are still calling this postal vote a plebiscite, it's not a plebiscite. It is a poll. It is an opinion poll costing $120 million and has no legal status whatsoever. The government is not compelled to do one thing or the other, no matter what the result of this vote is. It's fucking stupid. Jeremy Heppel. See, okay, yeah, that's an interesting question. What would happen with the America-Australia relationship if there was war between USA and North Korea? Well, that's complicated. In simple terms, the relationship with Australia and America, Malcolm Turnbull's already gone, oh, we're going to back Trump, America 100% what happened. But in terms of what sort of conflict may or may not happen in North Korea, say the worst happened, say an open conflict started, the most likely outcome is both North and South Korea would get fucking wiped out to all intents and purposes. Probably tens of millions of casualties, but you know, like America wouldn't have to send troops in there at all. Just target a few key cities and locations with bombing and shelling, and North Korea like wouldn't exist anymore, as in the Kim regime wouldn't exist anymore. So by the time you passed anything in the Australian Parliament saying, oh, Australian troops are going to go and support America in this stupid genocidal war, it would all be over. It's not likely to be land war, an invasion like Afghanistan or Iraq. That's just not likely. It's not impossible, but it isn't likely. Well, I'm just playing with some of the features on this. What's that 0 of 200 emoji? Oh, okay. I can do weird emojis. Okay, well, that's, you know, something. Oops. Oops, I think I stressed it. Make that go away. Okay, go away. No, what? Oh, no, I need to do that. Okay. No, a keyboard, come back. Okay, I'm back. So, yes, Pat, it was your birthday just this past Tuesday. I understand. Hey, Mofo. I think, okay, I'm going to stop playing with things on here because I'm frightened I'm going to break something. It's all new to me, so I really don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see how we're going. I think I've got someone messaging me on Twitter, and they're talking about cricket, and I'm not really the right person to talk to about that, in all honesty. Hey, Mofo, glad you popped in. Oh, okay, Frank. I assume you're watching me on your phone, Frank. Um, you must have better I mean, stating the bleeding obvious, you have better internet in London than we do in Australia. Our internet is shit. Oh dear. So I see. I want to test this delay again because it's freaking me out. So you know, when you see me clap my hands, type the word. So you can't fake me out. So I know you've heard it. Uh, Type the word that I say just after I clap my hands. And I'm going to count, and then I'll know how long it takes. Okay, are we ready? After I clap, type frogs. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000, 11 1,000, 12,000. Okay, yeah, it's about the same. It's about 10 seconds. Okay, so yeah, so although now the video I'm watching is slower. Your comments appeared 11 seconds after I clapped, and but when I see the video playback, so you're obviously seeing the video playback differently to me. When I saw the video playback, it was about 14 or 15 seconds after I clapped. But anyway. Oh, Mofo, did that happen to you? That's what I'm worried is going to happen to me. I'm on cable now for Foxtel, and Telstra is going to force me onto the NBN. And it's like, I'm worried that I'm going to have a worse service afterwards, which is shit. We'll have to wait and see, because I don't know if they're, I mean, I can't understand. I've had a recently installed fiber optic cable into my lounge room. Would they really rip that out? It's like, yes, okay, you have fiber optic cable right into your lounge room. We're going to rip it out and run copper in there instead. Would they do that? Would they really fucking do that? Ugh. Jeremy, who's considering high-speed rail? That's the thing that's always, it floats every couple of years in Australia. Like, there should be a high-speed rail link between Sydney and Melbourne, like uh, like the Japanese bullet trains get between Sydney and Melbourne in 1 hour. And then people go, yeah, and that will cost X billion dollars, and it never happens. So Blaze, VidCon starts on Saturday the 9th. Yes. So yeah, tomorrow, Friday, gonna go to work, maybe at lunchtime or after lunchtime, go and do registration and get my tags for the big event. Then we're having a meetup of people who are here for VidCon. on Friday night at Melbourne Central, so people can say hi and get to meet some people. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of people. Looks like there's probably going to be over 50 people show up to that. You can never be sure when you put a thing on Facebook. You can never be sure. You know, there might be more. Like the Facebook thing has got like 90 people saying they're going, and they may or may not go. Dilworth, I'm in the sports section because I'm so sporty. It is. I'm sporty. Oh, Blaze, I don't think you'll have any trouble getting a ticket. I don't think it's in danger of selling out. Yeah, Tendai, was there voice recognition that heard me say cricket, and suddenly I'm a sports channel. I can do sports. It's weird. I don't watch cricket much anymore, but I watched a lot growing up. So the cricketers I knew really well, the cricketers who were around in the 70s and 80s. So I've sort of got cricket commentary styles in my head, I think. So I've got a cricket game. I've got a couple of cricket games on my phone, and when I play them, I hear commentary in my head. Oh, that was a fine shot, square cut, straight to the boundary, it's all the way. It's really quite weird. Bury, the most dangerous thing about Trump is not just that he doesn't know what a war would mean, but he doesn't. He's ignorant. But the bad thing is he doesn't care. If you were to tell him that, you know, tens of millions of people would die, the global economy would crash, he'd go, but I'd look tough, right? Mofo's like, I don't know. What are the other categories? If there's sport, what other categories are there? Movies? Let's talk. Yeah, it's good. Pat, looking forward to seeing you and Rob. Should be fun. Be super big event. But we always talk movies anyway. So maybe if we talk about movies, I'll suddenly be on the entertainment channel. We have best careers in North Korea. Yes. I love. There's a spoof Twitter channel called DPRK News or something, and I think it's run by this fairly well-known American lawyer. Does it as a joke. It's like a North Korea propaganda channel, and it's only mildly exaggerated of the propaganda North Korea actually does, but it can be really funny. Like I'll read you, because now we can do this, see, because I'm on the chair, I got my phone here. If I go on Twitter, I'll look it up. Let me see, what is it? DPRK News. These are the most recent tweets from the DPRK News. There's a picture of Donald Trump with Dennis Rodman, and we know Dennis Rodman and Kim are friends. So DPRK News says, Marshal Kim Jong-un accepts Dennis Rodman offer to straighten out international shouting freak Donald Trump, but doubts Rodman can deliver. Labor Day is US holiday on which abused workers are allowed to drink cheap beer until vomiting on beaches otherwise reserved for the rich. Three-headed rabbit with 4 buttocks observed in wild, interpreted as auspicious sign. It's a fun thing. Ooh, Blaze, the Pacific Rim Uprising teaser. It was literally just a teaser, wasn't it? I saw it. And it basically suggested the fighting suits had become a commercial enterprise. Yeah. Oh, Frankie, that sounds good. A Donald Trump, a Kim Jong-un animation. Me and AZ do the voice. You animate it. I love that. Bury, that's good. Help us, OB Rodman. You're our only hope. Mike, what's Mike the Mike Man's business? Come on, let's get Mike's business noticed on Google. It's just like going to echo down the ways. If you heard the stories, like they're advertising Google Home really heavily. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I want a surveillance device in my house that's listening to me all the time and broadcasting what I say over the internet when I don't want it to. Yeah, that's an awesome, I would love to be under constant internet surveillance. Thank you very much. But apparently, if you have one of these things, because the ad keeps going, okay, Google, dim the lights. Okay, Google, turn the music up. If you have your Google Home in range of your TV, it actually does what the ad says. So that's good. Okay. All right, Mike. Okay, that's actually not what I was expecting. Mike runs an enterprise called Fright Night Comedy Theatre. fright-night.com.au. I'm loving it. Oh, you've got a home mic. Okay. Bold. I'm not sure. Bureau, YouTube is, as you say, they hit this weird point where, you know, they've just been rollicking along, doing whatever they want, running all the ads and stuff, making a lot of money. And then came the old media, somewhat of a beat up, saying, hey, look, these ads are appearing on people who think it's funny to make jokes about Nazis. And so essentially, you're subsidizing people who make anti-Semitic jokes. And how do you feel about your ad dollars supporting this sort of lame attempt at humor that's just fueling anti-Semitism and racism? And a lot of people went, I don't like it very much at all. And it got a bit fraught. Now, see, this is the thing. I can go and do this. Look, another time, I'm just trimming my beard. Another time, when I get used to this a bit more, because I do have, this is running as a Google Hangout. And technically, I can invite other people into the Hangout and we can have conversations and whatnot. I need to get used to it a bit more before I do that. And I can have group chat on the Hangout as well, but because yeah, it's on YouTube, it's broadcasting, that's easier. So I'm doing that. But in a future thing, I might do a thing where I invite people into the thing. Pat, I did not see Damie today. Probably see her tomorrow. I don't know. I went and saw her at her job performing last Thursday. Someone will hack cars and do what they did in The Fate of the Furious. I like it. Frankie's suggesting that Mike should have a Halloween story with me as a creepy clown in his horror theatre. Aussie Brick Chick, what platform do you live stream on? Because I know a few people have said, I remember someone saying I can link the YouTube stream to you now and potentially reach more people that way. I might look into that. Anyway, I don't think I'm real ad friendly, but yes, we'll work on it. So yeah, it's all happening. Hangouts using the event setting in YouTube. Okay, that's what I've done. Okay, and this is the first time I've done it. So and it's working. I'm happy. After having all those really frustrating problems with live streams, with my Wi-Fi dipping out, now I don't have to worry about that. So it's all good. So, you know, we can look for it. I'm looking about what's happening with our VidCon meetup and all the excitement. Yeah, we've got an enormous amount of people coming to the meetup, which will be fun. Ooh, Aussie Brick Chick, you teach me how to set it up so it advertises prior to live. That's good. Okay, so yeah, we shouldn't have any technical problems. I'm connected by an Ethernet cable to my fucking cable internet, so we should be hunky-dory. And now I know how to do this. It's good because for some reason YouTube a while back made like live streaming from a laptop or a desktop really fucking hard. And I don't know why they did that. So, but I've solved the problem, and it hopefully won't happen anymore. So we're all good. Hey, Lucy, how are you doing? Every time I see you, Lucy, I think I should find my Stitch baby. Hey, Frankie, back on the beat. Enjoy your work day, my friend, and I will catch you later. For those who don't know, we had a conversation in a previous live stream. Lucy, ages ago, sent me a little handmade doll she made that she calls a Stitch baby, and it's really freaking cool. And I did indeed keep it. Moved house a while ago, and there's boxes and boxes of stuff I still haven't unpacked. And the Stitch baby is in there somewhere. I will eventually, theoretically, unpack all the boxes that are still not unpacked. Right. But yeah, in my old house, before I packed everything up, yeah, Lucy, it was close enough to a decade ago. Oh, Shepmeister, Sean, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, Lucy, we old. I was old to start with, but yes, I mean, I have to admit, that's one of the funnier comments, unintentionally funnier comments I've got on YouTube. Someone who thinks they're ragging on me, you know, because they watched my videos 10 years ago, and they see one now and go, oh, whatever, man, you got old. Dude, what? You know, that's actually mandatory, okay? The whole ages ago. Do you still craft things, Lucy? You're 27 now. Because so you were making Stitch babies when you were like 16, 17. I personally think that's really cool because I really like my Stitch baby. But yeah, having someone comment like, you got old, dude, I've been doing these videos for over 11 years. I may have some powers, but among them is not the ability to stop the passage of time. Yeah. Oh, Mike, we all eventually, you only have to get past really your early 20s till you start thinking you're old. You know, what? I used to think people who were 25 were really old. Oh my God, I'll tell you a thought I had the other day. It's like, you don't realize when you're younger, you think people who do retro stuff, it's like, oh, in the 80s when I was growing up, there was a sort of 60s revival. There was a lot of music and fashion that was heavily influenced by 60s music and fashion, like clothes. There was a lot of paisley music. There was a lot of jangly guitars, like the Birds and whatnot. A lot of bands were doing sort of jangly guitar stuff that was really reminiscent of 60s music. People seem to do it every 20 years. And I remember, like, I bought the CD that Double J put out recently about, you know, the music of the 90s. Was the 90s the greatest decade in music? And yeah, there are some good tracks on it. And I saw someone talking about doing a revival of 90s fashion, and I thought, oh, come on, why would you do 90s revival? It was just the other day. You're not going to revive it yet. And they went, wait, it was 20 years. It was 20 years ago. And when I was in the 80s and people were doing 60s revivals, the 60s felt, well, you know, because I wasn't even born. So it felt like a really long time ago. So now I know why people are doing 90s revival, because it was actually a long time ago. So how do we stop existential crises? Oh God, mofo. There seems to be a lot of people being Nazis. I don't know if it's a midlife or early life crisis. Oh, Shepmeister, hearing bands like REM on Smooth FM, it is so funny. Like, God, when you hear it in the supermarket, like music from your youth that was really edgy and out there, that like never would have got played on commercial radio. and you hear it in the supermarket because it's 20 years old now, 30 years old now. It's safe, and it's like, but when I listened to it, like, it was really edgy and hip. And why is it playing in the supermarket? That's not right. Am I that? Yes, I'm that old. I am that old. Hearing REM on smooth FM, hearing Midnight Oil in the supermarket. Oh yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's not just that it's music you like. It's music that when you used to listen, when you first listened to it, it was regarded as really like, it was, forget Woolies, like it was never getting played on radio because it was too out there. Yeah. So it's a weird experience. Tendai, I will tell young punks to get off my version of telling kids to get off my lawn, and I've practiced it. It's got to be technology talk. Like I can't wait to use, oh man, like saying to my grandkids, oh, you kids with your cybernetic implants and your brain networks and you're connected to the cloud supercomputer. When I was young, my first computer, it was called a DX33. And what that meant is the processor ran at 33 megahertz and it had 4 megabytes of RAM. Not that 20 terabyte drive you've got lodged in your brain. This was a big, bulky computer and it had 4 megabytes of RAM. And the operating system couldn't understand a hard drive that was bigger than a gigabyte. So, yeah. Sebastian, yes, back in my day, we had a mouse and a keyboard, played them for hours. I have to admit, I did like the joke in Back to the Future. I think it's Back to the Future 2. I can't even remember which one it was. But when Marty McFly's in the milk bar in the future, and there's an antique video game there with a gun on it, and there's two kids trying to work out how this machine works, and they're thinking, oh, it's broken, and Michael J. Fox goes over to it, and it's a game he liked, when he's youth in the past. He goes, no, this is how you do it, and he pulls out the gun and says, bang, 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 and shows the kids how the games work, and the kids go, you have to use your hand like a baby's toy. It's just like, oh, that was brutal, and also I think quite prescient. Oh, yeah, the brick chick, the old computers that ran on cassettes, audio tape, and you could code your own games in lines of basic. Yeah, I remember going to Tandy Electronics and playing with their TRS-80, and you'd just literally play a cassette in a cassette recorder that was connected to the computer. And it would take half an hour to load an incredibly shitty game. I also love that this is a more advanced computer than the handheld devices they have on Star Trek. Basically, this is better than a tricorder. Oh yeah, apart from you can't scan someone and get medical profile off them. You got the hat from the movie On Zing. I like the sound of that. Oh yeah, Aussie Brick Chick game. Books that would actually just tell you the lines of code to write into your computer, so you would have a game. You would just sit there for hours and hours and hours typing machine code in, or basic sometimes, which was a human readable code. And at the end of it, as long as you didn't hit the wrong key or miss the space bar, you'd have a game. Oh, Toby, you sent me a package. Thank you. I don't know. No one else has told me there's a problem with buffering or no audio. All I can suggest is that you reload. There could be a problem at your end. I'm not sure. But yes, if anyone else is having problems, I would like to know. Lucy, you had a 3315. I just love, you can find old documentaries on YouTube, probably even just searching old internet documentary and stuff from the 80s or 90s is hilarious. Sometimes they're actually spot on, and you see, like, even with the passage of time, these people knew what they were talking about, but sometimes they say just the funniest shit. Like, I saw this one that was from the BBC, and they're just connecting to a bulletin board at one of the universities, and the connection method was a phone. You got a phone and you dialed a number and then connected it to this bloody rubber doohickey which was connected to your computer. Like, it wasn't even a phone cord going into your computer. It was like you literally had got your phone, dialed a number on a rotary number, and when the connection signal started, you put it in this rubber doohickey for your computer, and it communicated that way down the phone line. Oh my God, it's awesome just to see, like, what people used to do, what level technology used to be at. It's just absolutely amazing. And every now and then I think about the old video games. And I don't even own consoles, but I had like an Atari that just played Pong when I was a kid as well, you know, and they had the shittiest controllers. I would always break them because whenever you're doing something frantic and snap. But I mean, like, old arcade games, because a lot of them, they weren't even video games as we know them. They had a physical component, like you were moving levers or pointing a gun and stuff, but it wasn't like digital like our video games was. It was analog. There was a bit in the machine that translated your movements physically and made stuff happen. It was projections and lights in it and whatnot. It's incredible. Video games that used to be more physical than video. One I remember, because I grew up in the country where we had bugger all. Once a year, the show would come to town. The capital cities had, you know, the Royal Easter Show, and then a smaller version of it would tour country towns. If you're in America, this is like a state fair. It's the show, and there'd be a sideshow alley. There'd be video games there that we couldn't normally get. And there was one I remember. I forget what it's called, Shark Hunt or something. It wasn't really a video game. It was a series of still images that would change. And there's a shark, and you had this gun that you were supposedly shooting a spear gun and thing. And this little light thing would go do, 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 this shark thing that was moving, and it was so shit and so low tech. But I thought it was friggin' awesome. I would like love playing this game. And it was fucking terrible. But Celtic King, good to see you. I'm good. I actually haven't heard from AZ for a couple of days. I hope I might hear from him on Vidcon weekend. But yeah, Joe, modern games, I agree, can get bogged down in their technology. And it's like, woo, look at what we can do. Look at our awesome cutscene and whatnot. And you miss out on gameplay. So I don't play games that much because they take up too much time, and I dedicate little enough time to my YouTube and other online stuff as it is. Dottie, your brother would punch you if you touched his Sega Mega Drive, but you got on the 386 and played Chill of the Jungle. I like that. Celtic King, dancing in your undies is a way to go. Oh, Lucy, what Twitch answer were you looking for? Like, do I go on Twitch? Is that what you're asking? I haven't. All right. I think, and the old handheld games, which were again really mechanical, and some of them, you know, they seemed amazing at the time. Probably, I mean, like I said, in terms of proper console, did have a bloody as I said, one that played Pong when I was a kid, and I was trying to think what else I had. Celtic King, Aidsy would be bang up for either undies dancing or nude dancing. Try and stop him, quite seriously. Mine vlogs and tech now, Caleb. That's good. That actually makes more sense than sport. But yeah, but of the modern-ish consoles, I bought a Nintendo 64 when they were new, and I've still got it, and it still works. And the kids still play it occasionally, particularly the Zelda games, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and occasionally some of the shooters and whatnot. But I've still got my original working Nintendo 64. But recently bought, I lashed out, bought a PlayStation 4. Apart from the Nintendo platforms, the most recent one of them I got was a PlayStation 2. Oh, Celtic King, I still haven't put the VD letter on WordPress. I really should do that. You hate the Nintendo 64 controller? I always kind of liked it. I always kind of like the Nintendo 64 controller. Probably depends what game you're playing, but we've also got a Nintendo Switch now, which is pretty fucking cool. And I mean, like, you've got Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I just looked at it and went, oh, I could use up so many hours on this. So I haven't started playing it because I'm worried that I'll just spend 1,000,000 hours playing it. I will eventually put the VD letters. They're just sitting. They're actually right here, along with my various Bibles and other Christian paraphernalia and my Quran, which I've been bad and I haven't read. Haven't read the Bibles or the Quran. I kind of said I would. The Telltale games. I mean, I've seen my kids play the Walking Dead ones, and I played about the first half of Tales from the Borderland, which was quite good. I just kind of got distracted and haven't been playing it lately. What I love most about the Telltale games is when you finish a chapter, and they basically tell you how many people made the same choices as you. And there's one bit in Tales from the Borderland where there's this guy who's meant to have been a father figure for you, who fucks you over, betrays you, almost kills you, and is going to steal the thing. And the treasure box has got, you as a character know it's booby-trapped, and that's why you haven't opened it, but he takes it, and it's like, it's all mine now. And you have a choice. Like, it then suddenly gives you choices. You can warn him that it's booby-trapped or not. And there were a couple of choices, but they were variants of warn him that it's booby-trapped or don't warn him. And I just went, oh man, fuck that guy. And I clicked the, no, let him open it. And your character, the game says sort of, open it, rot in hell. And so this guy opens it and gets killed and blows up. So your father figure gets killed. And at the end of that chapter, I read it's like 80% of people didn't do what I did. So it's like, oh, okay. So like, I'm bad. I thought he was a dick. He's supposed to be your father figure, and then he abandons you, and you're in trouble. And then he comes back, and you think he's come back to help you, and he betrays you and almost kills you, and then steals the treasure that you almost got killed getting. And yeah, I just when he went to open it, I just went, yeah, fuck you, open it, mate, go for it. He's gone. And 80% of people didn't do that. I'm one of the bad ones. You're right, Joe. VD was trying to warn me how bad I was. That's just more evidence of how bad I am. That I let my father figure die in Tales from the Borderlands. I got quite obsessed. Well, you know, I was going to say not, but obsessed is fair because I played through the Borderlands games so many times. I played the original one. I played Borderlands 2. Was like 4 different characters, I think. And then I sort of did it on the hard level as well. And then there's the Borderlands pre-sequel, which I've played through as like 4 different characters. Oh, Telltale do a Guardians of the Galaxy game. That actually sounds really good. They're very good at it. Like the Walking Dead games, everyone says is great. I have watched my kids play them. They seem good. And the Tales from the Borderlands is quite good. It's weird because it's such a different style because it's a video story playing out. But you have to pay attention because occasionally someone will say, now you have to do something. You have to click it. You have to do some movements or you'll die. And I was like, okay, I wasn't ready for that. And in fact, the gameplay thing was so funny because the premise is you're telling someone the story and you're saying, this is what happened to me. And the first time I hit the wrong key in one of the action sequences and got killed, it cut back to my character telling the other person what happened. And the person you're talking to going, you died? That doesn't make sense. And you go, well, I could have. It was really close. And then it puts you back and you get to play it over again and you now know, don't hit that key, hit that key. And so it's a pretty neat conceit with when you die in the Telltale game. But yeah, like I said, I might go and seek out the Guardians of the Galaxy game. The danger is, like I said, I'll play too much of the thing. South Park Stick of Truth. I was tempted to play that too. Like my kids got it, so it's on the computer and I can play it. But again, I'm just wary of playing games because it will take up too much of my time. Oh, RC. I remember tabletop version of 1942. I played that quite a few times. I'm trying to think, there was a couple of games that I had like killer high scores on. I'm trying to remember what one was, but it was just a side-scrolling shooter. It wasn't even one of the really well-known ones. But I quite liked it. And it's a funny thing at the video game arcade, like I got good at it, and I would get the highest score. And so my high score name, because this is one of the Flash ones where you got to put 10 characters in, like it wasn't a 3-character one like Space Invaders where you make your name Bum or something equally witty. And being a nerd, I was really into the Lord of the Rings. This is when I was in high school, and I did the battle cry Elendil with an exclamation mark, and I did that. And then this other guy started getting high scores, and he was signing Zaphod in Zaphod Beeblebrox from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I'd come in, you know, on the weekend or during the week, and I'd say, oh, motherfucker's beat my high score. And I'd play a few times and I'd beat his score. And I'd come back another time and he'd beat my score. And the inevitable happened. And we were there at the same time one time. Like I'm playing and this guy who I didn't know was just watching me play. And I got the high score and I type in Elendil. And he went, motherfucker, that's you? I'm Zaphod. We didn't actually become friends. We were on talking terms, but it was kind of funny that this anonymous competitiveness had been happening for weeks, and then we inevitably ended up there at the same time, and we suddenly knew who our rival was. So It was, yeah, one of those things. Video arcades, I mean, they still exist, but they're not a very big thing. They're just for kids now. Not it's serious gamers play at home. Serious gamers play on consoles. They play online. Serious gamers don't play in arcades anymore. But that was honestly, that was one of the really good things about Pokemon Go. Getting out into the world and interacting with people. Like, it was only about a year ago, and it was crazy. Everyone was out playing it, and and it was a seriously flawed game, seriously limited game. And but still everyone was out there playing it, and you would just run into people and doing it, and you'd know, oh look, there's another one, they're doing it too. I stuck with it much longer than most people. I've only recently given up on it. Like, I was playing it less and less, but it was only a couple weeks ago I stopped completely. I've still got a video. I'm going to put it up on what do you call it? Instagram. It's like a 30-second video I shot at night. This is about a year ago, and I never put it online. I was drunk in a park in the middle of the night, and running into other Pokemon Go players. It was really funny. Joe, I never had. Actually, I was going to say I never had a problem, like with walking into traffic or anything. I only came close one of the very first times I did it, because at first when I was playing it, I didn't read any instructions and I couldn't quite work out what to do. But as soon as I worked out what to do, there was one time I was standing on the footpath and I'm going, and there was like, a Squirtle, and it was, I was using the augmented reality, and it was just out on the road. And it was really hard to resist walking onto the road to get closer to it. It was completely unnecessary for the game. But as a reflex, I did almost walk onto the road. And I caught myself, really, it was just the once. It was only once that happened. But that was really weird. Dottie, you play Fallout Shelter. Everyone has a fat man. I assume we mean a nuclear weapon. Someone like Kim Jong-un with his peanut-shaped nuclear device. Oh, I like that, Joe. You were playing as nobody. You killed a player called Everyone. I remember, God, I can't even remember his gamer name now, but it was a version of, it looked very similar to computer-based team members, and it was basically a little trick he did, because if people didn't look closely at his username, they thought he was a computer-generated character in the game, and they underestimated him, and he would go around killing them because they were thinking it was, just one of the grunt AIs from the game. It was actually another player. That story is let down somewhat by me not remembering the actual name and why it worked in a particular game. Well, this is one of the things. This is one of the drawbacks of doing a live stream. Sometimes you start a story and you don't know where it's going to go. I'm just looking at the display here and I'm trying to work out what it is. There's a thing that says, oh, is that characters? It is. All right, there's this thing there saying 0 of 200, and I had no idea what it meant. It was like an arrow. What was that? It's like, I can do a comment of up to 200 characters. I get it now. The thing, learning, doing this for the first time, I'm learning. So that's all well and good. Goodness gracious me. Okay, sorry, I was just looking for something on Twitter, and when the first thing you offer is someone posting, you open the first thing you see is someone posting an almost nude selfie, and it's like, oh goodness. That's why I always have to be careful. Always have to be careful on public transport, opening Twitter before the themes. So. Oh, Mike, puns. I like puns. If you have 200 characters to go, if you type Scooby-Doo, Mickey Mouse, and Snagglepuss, are there still 197 characters to go? Because there are 3 characters. Nice puns. No, I like puns. Don't apologize for puns. Are you taught a 90-year-old how to put a phone on speaker and get into notes on a phone? That's, I mean, again, I love that, Adele, helping someone, because there is that stereotype that with older people, they think a phone is just something to talk to people on, and they think all the technology, all the newfangled stuff, that's for young people. But actually helping someone discover that stuff is really cool. So I'm just checking a couple of things. Erg. Okay. Okay. No, nothing much happening there. That's cool. So we're still going. I mean, I did see, it's like a funny post. It's probably on Tumblr or something. People saying like, I can't wait till, like, all the old teachers are retired, so we don't have dumb teachers who don't know how to use technology. And the other commenters are going like, no, you're an idiot, because technology is going to continue to change, and what we think is cutting edge is going to be old. Like, if you're a teacher in 20 years, you'd be trying to do audio visual stuff with the class and going, okay, we'll run the session now. Oh wait, how does it work? Okay, no, miss, you have to swipe right to make it 3D. No, miss, you have to connect the Ethernet port to get. Technology will continue to change. Everyone thinks their moment in time is the only moment in time, and they think, and I'm not going other people like this. I'm guilty of doing this too, thinking that now is the most important time ever, like forgetting what happened in the past and assuming there won't be change that's so radical you wouldn't even be able to recognize it from today's perspective. And I always think people are just stuck in the idea that it's what's happening in now, it's what's always happened. Papa Dumb Geek, how you doing, birdie? Yeah, Joe, see, that's right. That's me getting caught. I'm making a reference to swiping. In 20 years, swiping will probably be incredibly old technology. There will be some sort of, bloody muscle control. You'd be in augmented reality. Just gesturing would make things happen. Physical contact with the interface will be very old hat. So, Richie, you going to the big old Vidcons on the weekend, matey? Going to a meetup on Friday night, maybe? So it'd be very funny because it's like I've tried not to uh, build up the idea of VidCon too much. I'm looking forward to it because if you build it up too much, you spend ages building up, and then it's gone. It's only one weekend, and then it's gone, and they crash. Mofo. Okay. I was about to say I don't know the event link, but I could paste it. It's wait a sec. Although you have to be in the. Oh no, wait, that's not what I want. Wait, share. What does that do? Can I do that? No, 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 no. Ugh, trying to work out how to get the hyperlink. Wait, does that do that? What happens if I do that? Let's do that. Okay, to see this, you would have to be in the Facebook group for YouTubers. No, there's no age limit. That probably won't work, but you can try. Because we are meeting up in the Melbourne Central Food Court from about 6 o'clock. So yeah, if you're in Melbourne, it's pretty easy to find Melbourne Central. There's a train centre, shopping centre on top of it, a couple of floors up, big food court, and we'll find places there. Mofo, I can friend you on Facebook. Just find me. Like if you search AngryAussie, you'll probably find me. My Facebook username is Andrew K. Joe Will, you're among a growing group of people who close their Facebook accounts. I'm still okay with it. I don't have the shits with it yet. Oh, Musical Aviator. If you got 2-minute lag, I've got 10-second lag. I've worked that out. That the gap between me saying anything and me seeing a response to it is about 10 seconds. So it is that weird. it's a weird thing. What are we doing? Oh, my phone. I did get your friend request. Oh, Brian, that's you. Okay. I didn't know that was you, Brian. Okay. So I accepted your friend request, Brian. So yeah. This is the weirdest thing, like with screen names, the number of time there's a screen name up there, and I don't know the person by, like lots of them will do. And for anyone else who can, oh, thanks for the direct link. Papadum Geek, aka Richie, someone I've known for years. Yeah, and sometimes the name's obvious. People I know, like Adele, who's got the username alternative Adele. But I also know Adele. We've hung out. But Papadum Geek is Richie. So it can get confusing when I realize when I do know the screen name, and so I'm probably I might use the screen name, or I might what do you call it? Use the screen name. I might use their real name. It's like, if I did get back to Facebook, nobody cares. I think Facebook would pick that up as not a real name. It was interesting because in the earlier days of Facebook, when they cracked down, they wouldn't let people use fake names. They were demanding people only use real names. A lot of people, and I was kind of among them, were saying, "Oh, that Facebook are trying to tell people what to do. People won't put up with that. People will rebel against it, and Facebook will die." They didn't, did they? Well, what the hell is that? Okay, today, did I hear about the Zim VP being poisoned from eating ice cream? Someone thought the CEO was onto something with the ice cream assassination idea. Okay, I don't know who or what Zim is. Oh, wait, do you mean Zimbabwe? I don't know. But, I mean, political assassinations have tried weird things. Are you coming back to Melbourne in March, Adele? Nice. Yes, you will have so many people to see and so much to do. Oh, yeah, Lucy, mine's not my real name either, but it's not an obviously fake name. Dotty Dot Ditto. I actually really like that you wanted to just be Dotty Dot, but someone already had that, so you went Dotty Dot Ditto. I actually really like that as a username. I think it's really quite good. I mean, I've told this story before while we're talking about usernames, going on to another topic. I got the name AngryAussie sort of unintentionally. I started a blog, and I was very focused. I had a plan, and I thought I'm going to write something in a blog every day for a year. This is like set myself the challenge, write something in every day a year. And I came up with the concept of Mr. Angry, who's always angry. So I got to write something on the blog 365 days. So I started the blog on the Google-owned platform. What's the Google blogging platform called? I haven't used it in so long, I've actually forgotten. Was it just called Blogger? I can't remember. But the Google-owned blogging platform is what I started on. And my blog name was Angry365 because, that was the whole thing. I was going to be angry 365 days a year. So it's Angry365. And after after I'd been doing it for a while, someone actually said, oh, there's a better platform called WordPress. And I'm like, oh yeah. I said, you should try WordPress out. So for a while, I was publishing on both WordPress and Blogger. But when I went to set my blog up on WordPress, there was actually already a blog called Angry365. So I couldn't do that. So I sat there thinking, oh, what am I going to call it on WordPress? And I called it, just out of the blue, AngryAussie. And lo and behold, after I'd been doing that for a few months and I got a bit of a following on my blog, people told me I should do a podcast. But then I got broadband internet for the first time. And this was about a year after YouTube started. YouTube was just starting to get big. So I thought my whole intention had been to do stand-up comedy. I was writing content on the blog with the idea that would be material for a stand-up routine. And I thought, well, I could leapfrog. Don't worry about going to audio. I had a little camera. I'll do it on video. And when I did it, my idea was doing it on video would be like testing how well I could deliver, testing stuff at stand-up. And because the Angry Aussie blog was on WordPress was now had a bigger following than the blogger Angry365, I started up the YouTube channel under the name Angry Aussie, and that's what I've been ever since. I've been an Angry Aussie for, I don't know, almost 12 years, 11 and a half years, something like that. Lose track, I really do. So it's funny. I got the name Angry Aussie somewhat by chance. I didn't intend for that to be my username. I got kind of pushed into it. Joe Will, sitting on the toilet was the first Angry Aussie video. And I wasn't even very angry in that. I was just sitting on the toilet with my mask on, talking about stuff. There's quite a shift just between my first and second video. I'm much angrier in the second video. I don't know, it's morphed over the years. Sometimes people say I'm not as angry, but I think sometimes I'm more angry. I think sometimes the anger is a bit more sincere in the current videos than it was in the other ones. Yes, I talked about washing hands after taking. I had a little bit of literal toilet humor in the early ones. So yes, not particularly sophisticated, quite honestly. Oh man, there's some people. I was just randomly flicking to see if my link had worked on Facebook, and I saw I saw someone vague booking, doing that, ragging on a specific real person without saying their name. I always think it's funny when people do that. I do it as well. Like, I saw what you did, motherfucker, and I'm not gonna forget. Or on Twitter. On Twitter, we call it subtweeting. On Facebook, it's vague booking. On Twitter, it's subtweeting, saying, what behavior you think is shit. And you're obviously talking about a specific person, but you never mention anyone by name. Oh, Joe, I did that thing about my dick is cleaner than my hands. I actually did that at an open mic night, and it went okay. I really enjoyed doing the joke because it all built up to I'm not just convinced. I'll give the background. The routine was about washing your hands after you take a piss. Like there's a social convention. You're a guy. After you take a piss, you wash your hands. I go, why? Why do you do that? Because I'm thinking it's like, you know, I get up in the morning, I have a shower, I put my clothes on, my dick's all protected and clean. My hands are touching all sorts of shit. My hands are filthy. You know, I should. Okay. King Rilza, who the cunting fuck are you? Honestly, just as one. You see, someone, I've got no fucking idea you are, cockhead comes in, make me a mod. Mod, please. I mean, are you just a stupid cunt? Are you 5 years old? Does that work somewhere? I mean, I just had to pause and just for a moment go, what a fucking knobhead. I mean, that is prize fucking stupidity, quite honestly. I mean, it's this awesome conglomeration of ignorant, arrogant, and fucking thick as shit. So, I mean, honestly. Ugh. Okay, so Mofo Sign, you just asked to join Australian YouTubers because I'm an admin on that. I can go, yeah, Brian can join there. Yeah, you're in the group now. Ooh, there's a few people in there that I just admined in. Okay. I like that, Richie. See you there. You're the brown one. I remember in the early days of internet chat, various things, IRC, and I remember MSN Messenger when you could, when that was they had really good chat channels. I had a lot of fun on that till, I don't know, the word got out that Microsoft was basically sponsoring the chat that had people posting porn and looking for random sex and whatnot, and Microsoft decided it was bad publicity and shut it down. Yeah, that's the one, Richie. ASL, age, sex, location. Um, and I really enjoyed the early chat, but I'd be like I'd find regular chat groups, and people would just zot in and out saying, and they'd basically say like, "Hey, I'm guy this age. I'm looking to fuck tonight. Who's up for it?" And everyone would just go, "Fuck off, loser," and they would just drop in and out of channels going like, who wants to fuck? And I joked at one point, like, how often would that work? And yeah, like one time in 100. And I realized after a while that was literally the average they were going for. They would just hit chat group after chat group after chat group till they found like a lonely, horny woman who would say yes. And they didn't care that they were humiliating themselves and looking stupid to hundreds of people because they just go hit these group until someone said yes, and there were people who just into random sex. This was proto Tinder, and yeah, like Boomhauer on King of the Hill. For anyone who knows that old animated series, Boomhauer was always talking to the women and chatting up the women, and he would get shot down like 19 times out of 20, and he didn't care because he didn't find it humiliating. He just completely ignored it. when a woman rejected him, and he'd go on to someone else because he had no trouble with getting rejected 20 times in a night if he got accepted once. But it's like normal humans aren't that resilient. Normal humans get knocked about by rejection. So yeah. Sex bots, mofo, sex bots can definitely feel cool. Some people are very easy to fool. Mike, you saying King of the Hill's being remade by Seth MacFarlane? That'll suck. Because King of the Hill was beautiful. And Foxtel were repeating it. I watched an episode of it just today, and it was beautiful. It's like, you know, you just love it. Like, which King of the Hill character do you identify with? And man, I'm Bobby Hill. I'm Bobby Hill so much. Like, awkward, not really getting it. And but you know, trying and getting out there. I think, you know, yeah, a lot of people say they're like Hank. I love people who say like anyone who says they're Peggy. That's hilarious because Peggy is a special sort of crazy. She was interesting. Dang it, Bobby. Seth MacFarlane is not gonna stop because it's all about making money. Yes, sure. Poppy doing martial art. That's my purse. I don't know you. See you tomorrow, Papa Dumb Geek. Be good. Oh yeah, Musical Aviator. The porn spam Facebook friend requests that come in at a rate of knots. Oh, Dottie, I have to admit, I am very interested to see what the Orville is like. For anyone who hasn't seen it, Dottie's highlighted 2 new Netflix series coming out. The new Star Trek series, Discovery, which I have to admit I am interested in seeing. I'll probably finally get Netflix when Star Trek Discovery starts. But there's also a comedy series that MacFarlane's behind called The Orville. It's like comedy Star Trek. And okay, look, I'm going to disappear for a second and let the cat out because I don't want the cat to get upset. Getting out here. Go there. All right. Cat was shut in the kitchen with me. I just wanted to let her out. Oh. Oh, Biori, I've seen that mini comic. Yeah. Where you see the characters in therapy and you realize it's Bart Simpson and Chris from Family Guy, and the therapist is Bobby, and he's really good. And the final thing was that Bobby really appreciated having a sincere father, Hank Hill, whereas Bart and Chris's dad were arseholes. And I'm not going to let the cat in. She won't want to come back in here, or I'm going to ignore her. She'll come in. What she'll want to do is go in the next room where Mrs. Angry is watching Battlestar Galactica and sit on her lap. I call her Mrs. Angry. I'm pretty sure the cat just calls her lap lady because, or food lady, because I don't feed them because I see my love feeds the cats, and I see the way they hassle her to get fed. So it's like, man, I'm never feeding you because then you expect it and you're going to fucking hassle me. So their behavior worked against them in my case. So I never feed them because I don't want them to expect me to feed them. Because who needs that, quite honestly? I have shown I know, Celtic King, I appreciate you going for the Benny Hill innuendo with can we see my pussy? I have showed her in some live streams, I think. Does Mrs. Angry get proper angry like me? No, Mrs. Angry is very much a not angry person. And she appreciates that I do the angry stuff on video because I get less angry in day-to-day life because I have this release, and in general terms, I get less angry in my day-to-day life because I was with Mrs. Angry before I started being the Angry Aussie. And she said, after I'd been doing it a while, she noticed a change in my behavior, namely that I got less angry and I was more relaxed generally. And sure, that's clearly good for you. It's therapy. You get it all out of your system, and you don't have to be angry in day-to-day life. So, you know, oh dear. So it's good therapy. That's why I always laugh at the people who aren't very good at thinking laterally, and they can only look at things literally, and they say, "Oh, you'll be angry all the time. You'll have a stroke." Okay, no, mate. I mean, I get that you're not even trying to make a meaningful comment. You're actually just being a tool. But if you know, I was going to actually answer you, I would point out that no, not only am I not going to have a stroke doing this, but this actually lowers my stress levels. So I'm actually much better off not bottling it up. Uh, Hello, Evil Harb. How are you? Joe, well, I mean, I get that you're saying that thing about if you made videos being anxious, you might have fewer panic attacks. I get that you're, you know, being a bit lighthearted, a bit ironic there, but I would not rule it out as something that would help you. If you artificially acted as if you were having anxiety when you weren't, and then you switched it off, I think you can almost condition your brain to start going, oh, I can get all this anxiety out and it will cause me less problems. I'm not going to say it's not going to cure anxiety, but I wouldn't rule out at having some therapeutic benefit, quite honestly. Eric Silva, how are you? Good to see you. From the East Coast, what time is it on the East Coast right now? It must be early, very early, isn't it? Very early, I think. Some unearthly hour, I would imagine. This is interesting. Like, well, people asked last live stream was somewhat of a train wreck. Okay, 7:40 a.m. on the East Coast. It's 9:40 p.m. here. Yeah, Joe. Well, I'm really glad. Look, even just the joining in and the typing, if that's, you know, a good positive thing for you, and I'm glad. Belinda, hello to you in Brisbane. How goes it? I bet the weather in Brisbane is better than the weather in Melbourne. It is unseasonably cold here. Like, we had a really mild winter, but August and now even into September is being as cold as most of winter was. Now, this is normally when it gets warmer. We still have some cooler days, but we've been having like cold days, maximums of just barely into double digits, and minimums that certainly feel like, you know, down to around, you know, 2 degrees and down to 0 Celsius, which is really unusual for this time of year. That's more June, July weather. It's normally getting warm again by August, September. But it's a big thing. I'll say Evil Hub, Joe, and think for those who've seen videos, I have talked in videos before about a therapeutic technique called tapping, also known as EFT, which is an acronym that actually stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, which sounds a bit silly. I prefer just the acronym EFT. I've actually done a whole series of videos. I haven't put them up yet. I haven't decided yet whether to just put them on my second YouTube channel, Less Angry Aussie, or start a new one. I was thinking of calling it Angry Sorts It, or maybe Dr. Angry. This whole thing would be about helping people sort shit out. And because Mrs. Angry is actually, she's a psychologist, therapist, counselor, and she's been learning more and using these techniques. One's called EFT, and there's a different one called EMDR. And these are really effective but quite unusual techniques for treating stress, trauma, anxiety, depression. EMDR particularly can be used for really quite extreme PTSD. Very interesting stuff. But also the EFT, which is also known as tapping, can be used for really mundane things. Like, you know, Mrs. Angry showed me how when there was the thing, I had it wasn't quite traumatic memory, it was just memory of an ex who was really quite abusive. And if I ever thought of it, I felt really stupid. Like, God, how did I let someone manipulate me like that and treat me so badly? You know, I'm meant to be a big, strong man. How did I let someone do this to me? And I'd feel an almost physical reaction. Like I'd feel sick thinking about how I let this person fuck me over, and do this tapping, and it took a power away. But while it's often used for stress and anxiety and depression and trauma, it can be used for more mundane things about your eating habits. It can, and I have posted videos. I've done a live stream of it, and I've posted videos of getting me to like eating things that I didn't used to eat. I mean, yeah, dude, I'm over 50, and you think at that point, habits are really ingrained. Like that's who you are. You have this habit. You eat this. You don't eat this. You know, that seems like a thing, right? That seems like a thing. You get to a certain age, that's just who you are, and you're not going to change. But with using tapping, I've been able to change habit of decades, like 40 years. Like I'm terrible not eating vegetables, but now I eat like, and I mean raw, capsicum, onion, tomato, cucumber, carrot, and a few other things that I never ate before. And now that's what I have for lunch most days. I make a sandwich at work. Everyone at work thinks I'm a gourmet chef because I make the sandwich. I have a little, because there's a stove at work, and I have a fry pan, and I saute some mushroom, onion, capsicum, and I make a sandwich, put in the sandwich, and it's yummy yum. So it's amazing how much you don't have to be bound by habits. Oh, I'm just seeing the stream freezing up. I don't know if it's doing it for anyone else. Writing a comment in case people can't hear me. Okay, yeah. So if you've never, I've shown this in videos. If you've never heard it, so but I not only eat healthier things that I never ate before. I almost never eat snacks, and I mean like almost never. And I was snacking all the time. So Evil, I don't think you could rely on tapping alone to be any sort of complete solution, but as a form of treatment, it's really effective. Those never seen me do it. It's really weird. Like it actually works off acupressure points. You start talking about what you want to feel better about or change, tapping this part of your hand, and you go through like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then you tap these key points. It's here, 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 and here. And I am going to put a bunch of videos in because, okay, this is a leader, and I have mentioned this before. I've referred to it as my secret project before. So the combination of enjoying eating healthier things and not snacking, like literally just tapping on like, okay, even though I really want to eat that white chocolate and it smells great, and it's my favorite thing in the world, and I feel like I can't resist it, I accept myself anyway. And you go like, chocolate is yummy. I want to eat all the chocolate. I can't resist chocolate. It's the best. I want to eat it. I eat it. I eat it. And you do this a few times, and it loses its power over you. It's not like it doesn't taste nice, but if you've ever had that thing that you just can't resist eating it or drinking it, and you think you should stop, tapping works. It's freaking weird. I'll be the first to admit that when you look at it, it doesn't appear to make sense, and it seems like it's some sort of weird scam, but it works. And this is the thing. I think I mentioned this in another live stream. So since getting serious with the tapping thing and stopping eating snacks and eating healthier things, I've lost like 7 kilograms, and I measured myself, I don't know, a week and a half ago, and I'd lost 7 centimeters off my gut. So like change is happening, man, and I'm going to keep going. And it's not like I've lost weight before, which I ended up putting back on by doing like a pre-packaged thing, light and easy, pre-packaged calorie control meals, which I liked and whatnot. But eventually I went off it, and I was eating unhealthy things, snacking, and I put the weight back on. But this is actually changing how I behave, and I'm happy. Like, I'm happy with the things I'm eating. I'm not depriving myself. Like, I'm not saying I'm only like, I'm happy. And so, Joe, don't worry. I do treat myself every now and then. Evil habits, not a placebo effect. There's actually, like, as Mrs. Angry's been doing some advanced training with a uni professor at Bond University, who's been doing some advanced training. It's not placebo effect, but it's kind of like rewiring your brain. It's changing how your brain if you're talking in a therapeutic sense, like dealing with stress and anxiety and trauma, it's changing the way your brain actually processes the memories. So it stops them from being traumatic memories that can really fuck you up, to there's still memories, you still remember them, but you're remembering them in a different way, so they don't have this traumatic power. And the eating thing is more about like, okay, it can't change the way a food tastes, right? But there's an ingrained response from your brain to the food. And there's something about touching the key points, because you have to touch particular points. They're acupressure points. And I mean, I joke, I call it distracting your brain. I thought it was like, because you're thinking about something, but you're doing this thing. And my joke is you're distracting your brain. And your brain actually processes the sensory information differently. Like before, from an onion or a capsicum, I had sensory information that says, this is gross. Now I eat onion and capsicum every day. And before, I had sensory information from chocolate, chips, that this is completely irresistible. I can't not eat this. Now, I open a chocolate bar, I'm going to eat all of it. If I open a bag of chips, like a big bag of chips, I will plow through it, no worries. And they don't have that power over me anymore. I can either easily resist them completely, or I can have a little bit and be completely satisfied with that. I've had a couple things at work over the last couple of weeks. There's been some event, people bringing cake, there's been cakes, and there's been a whole table full or multiple tables full of really nice looking food. And I've just gone, that's cool, I don't want to eat it. Whereas before, I would have fucking gone nuts. No, musical elevator. That's not how Tony Abbott eats onions. It is the brain damage. That's what you're saying. Yeah, no. It's not like that picking up and just biting through an onion that still had like the skin on it. That's just like, no. It's because Tony Abbott's not quite human. There's we were quoting King of the Hill earlier. Be Hank Hill to Tony Abbott would be like his like, dang it, Tony, a boy ain't right. And he isn't. Tony Abbott simply is not right. There's no getting around it. That boy ain't right. Oh, 10 days. Is that what Cameron used so he can stick his dick in a pig's head? No, that was just upper class Tory privilege. They think they can do anything, and they will do anything. Oh yeah, I actually agree, Joe. I know we can blame Tony Abbott's fuckness on his Catholicism, but he was too fucked to even stay in a Catholic seminary, because his only view of religion and Catholicism is the repression and control and authoritarianism. And when the priests at the seminary tried to get him to show compassion and sacrifice for other people, he couldn't do it. That's why he left the seminary, because the priests were trying to turn him into a human, and he reacted against it. Evil Hub, Tony Abbott's not so much an emissary from alien overlords as in some subterranean slime creature that's crawled out of the bowels of the earth and has wrapped human skin around his slime, not very effectively. And I think he like skinned homeless people and took their skin and patched it up in a really awkward way over his slime essence. I think that's what he is. Eric, an easy, healthy breakfast: a slice of tomato on your toast with a tiny scrape of mayo. Look, I make this at work, and everyone at work is jealous of me. They think I'm a gourmet chef. This is what I do for breakfast and lunch at work, and I don't get sick of it. I've been doing this for like a year. I get tomato, capsicum, onion, mushroom. Chop up tomato. Sorry, well, chop up. I did chop up tomato. Now onion, capsicum, mushroom. Saute it. I had been using a sandwich press. I was improvising, and I found out there was like a stovetop at work, so I use a fry pan now. So I saute the onion, mushroom, capsicum for a few minutes. Chop up the tomato and some cheese. I get a baguette. There's a really nice sort of roadside stall that is in the city that this bakery called Wood Frog sells bread out of. They have an actual outlet. They have this little, street vendor thing in the city, and I get a baguette from them. Cut it in half. I have half for breakfast, half for lunch. I have the same thing on it. So I've sauteed the onion, capsicum, mushroom. I just chop up the tomato, some cheese, put the sauteed onion, capsicum, mushroom on it, put it in a sandwich press, sit it in there for a while, and then eat it. And everyone's super jealous of me. And look, it takes 10 or 15 minutes to prepare, and most people are like, I can't be bothered doing that. But I don't know, I like doing it, and there's something about this. I actually feel really good after eating it. It's like, yeah, left to my own devices, I might, just eat something because it's there. It's like, I ate something. I don't feel great. Sometimes I'll eat too much and I actually feel bad after eating it. This is like not too much, and it tastes really good, and I feel really good. I feel actively good after eating it. So I'm also experimenting now. I watched this documentary thingy with Mrs. Angry, an English guy who's a doctor. His name is Michael Mosley, I think, and he analyzes all sorts of things and does this work, does that work, and he was looking at ways, to be healthier and live longer, and he looked into fasting and calorie restriction, and he's explored, and he's now really sold on, that fasting does improve your health, but he does this thing as, I think they call it the 2-5 thing. So like out of every week, there's 2 fasting days, and it's, you don't stop eating together, but you really reduce your calorie intake for 2 days to like less than 800 calories, which is like less than half what even a healthy person would eat usually. So I've just started experimenting with that as well. So I did it Tuesday and Thursday this week. So I had on those days, today's Thursday, so those days I had a banana for breakfast, just a banana, a little yogurt thingy for lunch, and I had a small meal at dinner time, and I'll be interested. And I'm fine. I actually had a small burger for dinner tonight, so I didn't exactly deprive us. But I didn't, because for a number of reasons, I didn't eat dinner last night. So it was like last night I didn't have dinner. No, I'm saying, but it's, oh, Dottie, isn't that student? That's, look, I tell you, I've got in my life, I've had a couple of super successful weight loss plans, and one of them is definitely being super, super poor. I went through one period, and it was not when I was a student. I was better off when I was a student. I was unemployed though, and went through this period of having like no money, and I lost quite a bit of weight. Another one is be really, really sick. You've had one of those stomach bugs. Fortunately, I've only had it really severely a couple times in my life. You know, one of those stomach bugs where you can't hold anything down. You spend a couple of days throwing up, and you've got diarrhea at the same time. So you basically lose anything that you've eaten in the last 2 days, and then you're so fucking sick you can't hold anything down for another 2 or 3 days, and then you're just recovering and you hardly eat anything for a couple of days. So basically there's a whole week with no calorie intake. You lose a lot of weight if you do that. I've only had that happen twice or maybe 3 times in my life. But yeah, you lose a lot of weight too. Oh my God, Celtic King updating us on VD. He's got another 6 months in prison because he threatened to kill a prison guard. Jesus Christ. I feel bad. I mean, you make fun of him because he is an idiot, but there's issues there. There are real issues there. That guy's fucked up. Oh dear. Oh, dear. Oh, Joe, sick like that for 2 weeks. No, that's bad. I think the most I've had is being sick for a week, like basically having no calorie intake for a week, and you lose a lot of weight. What did I say? So be really poor, be really sick, or be really stressed. I had this really stressful job. This was ages ago, and over a 2-week period, I probably had 3 full meals. Like I was hardly eating at all, just from stress from this job. Lost a lot of weight. So it's like, yeah, extreme poverty, extreme illness, extreme stress can all be weight loss things. Mind you, extreme poverty and extreme stress can actually make you put on weight too, because sometimes when you're really poor, you actually eat cheap, unhealthy stuff. It's got a lot of calorie and fat, and you can put on weight. That's why, if they're so poor, why are they so fat? It's because they're eating bad foods. And sometimes people do stress eating. Jesus. Okay. So bloody VD's not getting out of prison till at least September 2019. Jesus. Evil Hub, he was in the channel for a while and he got obnoxious and wouldn't shut up, so I kicked him. And he took that as a slight, to the extent, and he's got very clear mental issues, and he's latched on to Mormonism for some reason. Like Celtic King tells me he was actually thrown out of the Mormon church for being an abusive fuckhead. But he's latched on to Mormon ideology and looniness, and he sent me this really long, rambling, crazy. Yes, the guy who sent the letters, and he was going to be sending more, but then Celtic King gave us the news that he punched a cop while he had drugs. So he got arrested for drugs and also then was charged with assaulting cops and has ended up in jail. And now he's apparently extending his jail time by being threatening and abusive in jail. Guy's fucked up. I mean, you know, on one level, you know, I could gloat because he said some really shitty things that I didn't like. And I could make fun of him and say, see, everyone who doesn't agree with me is this stupid and bad things will happen to him. But prison is fucked, man. I've visited people in prisons. Prison's not easy. Prison's really shitty and bad, and he's going to have a bad time. I do not wish it on him. And I don't feel guilty because it's nothing to do with me. He got busted with drugs and then hit cops. He's a fucking idiot. But it feels bad that he's going to have a very bad time in jail. And Celtic King tells me this is not his first stretch either. Joey has some sort of mental illness. There's no two ways about it. I don't know if it's schizophrenia, but there's some shit going on there. But yeah, because again, as I said, Mrs. Angry is a psychologist, and I got her to look at the letters. I said, I'm not 100% sure if he's a super troll or if he's actually that crazy. She read it and went, he's not faking. This is not the work of someone who's faking. Ugh. AJ Chef, it will last for months in press. I'm not sure what you've said there. Oh, powdered milk. Okay. Evil Harb, him doing a stretch, he's not going to do well. He is not going to do well at all. Yeah, I feel bad. I mean, I don't think there's much doubt he's an asshole, and he's created this situation and he's making it worse by himself. But I don't gloat over things like that. That's unpleasant. That is just an unpleasant turn of events. A series of unfortunate events, as Lemony Snicket would have it. But yeah, I can't look after it. God, I have enough trouble looking after my own life. I can't be held responsible for some complete bloody idiot who's screwing up his own life. And he is really screwing up his own life. So, yeah, Joe, I think VD does need medication. Don't forget him. Oh, yeah, Celtic King is saying he's getting bashed because he does his stupid preaching thing in jail. I was just like, oh my God, dude. I just had a flash. Remember the semi-recurring character on The Simpsons, Arnie Ziff? The guy who had the hots for Marge in high school, and he was, the genius and became a technology billionaire and was always trying to get Marge back. And there was one where he ended up in jail for securities fraud, and right at the end of the episode, he's getting put in jail. And when he goes in amongst the hardened criminals like Snake, these other ones, Marge says something like, don't worry, I'm sure Arnie will come back into our lives like he has so many times before. He's got this little water squirt bottle, and one of the huge thugs is smoking, and then he goes, oh, that's a terrible habit. Squirt, squirt. He squirts in the guy's face and puts his cigarette out. And the guy comes menacingly up to him and goes, oh, you want to come closer and do it in? And they all come around and go, oh, you're all coming close. Good. That makes it easy to go squirt, squirt. And you just lose sight of Arnie Ziff surrounded by all these prison thugs. And Marge goes, kids, say goodbye to your Uncle Artie forever. It's just... And I think that was the last time Artie Ziff was on it. I'm not 100% sure. He's voiced by John Lovitz. John Lovitz voiced 4 different characters in The Simpsons. Yes, Adele, I know what you mean about, a harmless version of VD. Someone who's clearly nutty, but they're, kind of nice, or, but if they're unbalanced, you keep an eye on them. Yes, Evil Hub. John Lovitz was Artie Ziff. He was the critic. He was in the first or second season. He was the theatre director who directed Marge in a musical version of Streetcar Named Desire. Well, you know, maybe he is taking a break from his career. This is 10 years ago that he was on this, 10, 20 years ago he was on The Simpsons. So let's see, how many characters? He was Artie Ziff, he was the critic, Jay, he was the director. Hamza, just before you go away, you're a boring, pathetic cunt, okay? Just so you know. Jesus. Competition to Adam Sandler and The Wedding Singer. Ugh. Adam Sandler used to be kind of funny, but I don't think he does that weird thing of every second movie, like Adam Sandler does this thing where he does a stupid voice, and that's supposed to be funny, doing a stupid voice. And I was like, okay. I mean, I first kind of liked Adam Sandler because what was the movie he was in with Damon Wayans, Bulletproof? And I like Damon Wayans. I used to watch Damon Wayans things, and Adam Sandler co-starred with Damon Wayans. That was the first time I saw him. And yes, Adam Sandler's early films were entertaining, but I've never been a huge fan. Celtic King, you should definitely make a video of my YouTube videos. It's actually been done a couple of times. Yes, Belinda, exactly. The voice he does in The Waterboy. And then he does in that one where he's Little Nicky. And, you know, Don't Mess With His Own. It's almost like every second movie he does a stupid voice. And that's supposed to be funny that he's doing a stupid voice. Oh, I like that, Eric. You had a cousin, graduated from the same high school as Adam Sandler at the same time? Or just a very different time at the same school. I don't think anyone famous went to any of my schools. I don't remember anyone ever claiming, "Oh, yeah, mother, yeah, this is a great school." Sure, former. I like that. You were just watching Red Letter Media's Jack and Jill reviews, scammy filmmaking, all product placement and gigs for his mates. You're absolutely right. He definitely does it gigs for his mates. But I know all the films do product placement, so it's not like that's a big thing. Oh, AJ Chef, I'm loving that. You fed Alf from Home and Away. That is awesome. That is really awesome. I like that. I know my kids went to St Kilda Primary, and actually quite a few famous people went to St Kilda Primary. Did you have to feed Alf down in his rape dungeon? My God, I don't know how many people ever saw these weird videos that someone had done a couple years ago on YouTube, and they were taking clips from these really cheesy Australian soap operas, Home and Away and whatnot, and they're just doing the most fucked voiceovers for them. And most famously, Alf, and his character. And then Alf had a rape dungeon, and he's always threatening to take people down there. And it was so fucked up. What was that? Shelf Warmer, you remember those? What were they called? The channel had a name, and it kept getting taken down. Oh my God. They were so wrong. They were awful. And I used to laugh at them quite a lot because I'm a bad person. That's it, Mike. Yeah, yeah. And when he's saying Alf goes, "Oh, you Mexican cunt." I'm not Mexican, bro. Because there was the actor it was Alex Pappas, wasn't it? So he's Greek. Adele, it was just a really weird thing that this Australian bloke was doing, just doing voiceovers on Home and Away videos and having them say the worst things ever. Evil Hub, revoice Harry Potter meeting Hagrid sounds very similar. I mean, it's not a completely original thing. People have been doing it forever. It's just that these guys who did it, they took like a sort of squeaky clean, cheesy Australian soap opera and just had the characters saying the worst things. Oh my God, it's going to do my head in that I can't remember what the channel was called. Anyone's been on YouTube long enough to remember it, but they were very controversial because it broke into the mainstream media at one point. That Ray Meager was really that Doodleburger. Mike, you're a genius, Mr. Doodleburger. Yes. Shelf Warmer, I like those ones too. They were a lot cleaner. Hercules overdub, Homicide, the Olden Days Barjas. The Late Show did two particularly good ones. The Olden Days, which was them voice-overing a 70s Australian drama about the gold rush, which was just called Rush. And Barjas was a cop show with a fat cop. It's called Bluey. It was actually a knockoff of the American series called Cannon. William Conrad played the lead character Cannon, sort of middle-aged, obese guy. And so the Australians just decided to do a knockoff of it. They call it Bluey. And got Lucky Grills, who's an absolute legend of like Australian vaudeville. And he's playing a cop for a few years. And this show that used to be on Saturday night called The Late Show did voiceovers. Rush they called the Olden Days, and Bluey they called Barjas. And they were both way cleaner than Mr. Doodleburger, but still very funny. It was interesting because they were like 5-minute bits on The Late Show, and they were very funny. And then one night I tuned in, and the ABC just ran them all end to end at one thing. And to me, it was interesting. Watching the Olden Days, I didn't find it particularly funny to watch them all at once. They were funnier in 5-minute episodes. But Barjas worked brilliantly. Like the whole lot of it was like half an hour long or 45 minutes long. Barjas, just in one long stream, worked really well. I found it really funny. And even just the most juvenile running jokes of Barjas farting all the time. And because they would just find bits of video from the show where the actor Lucky Grills just moves a bit like this, and every time he moves, they just put in a fart sound effect. Really juvenile, but really made me laugh. And I don't think probably my favorite bit of the Olden Days, because it was on really cheap sets and really bad acting. And there's one bit, these guys in their gold rush type clothes, and there's one kid, people around the table in their tavern set, he's going like, "Oh, I reckon I'm a worse actor than you." And then he goes, "No, I'm worse." He goes, No, I bet I can do a bad fake fight scene way worse than you could." And he goes, "Oh, I bet you couldn't." And they start having a fight, and it's the most fucked fake fight. Like these punches that miss by 6 inches, and people just throwing themselves over tables going, "Whoa, whoa." It was hilarious. What are you baking? Oh dear. Yes, Mike, Judith Lucy, she was part of their crew. I'm sure she was voices in it as well. That's the Working Dog team, who have done such amazing work over the years, both in TV and film. Oh my God, then they did that animation earlier this year, Pacific Heat or whatever it's called, that stylistically was a rip-off of Archer, but it wasn't funny. Oh, you got to go, Celtic King. Bye. Catch you next time. Yeah, Frontline, the games, and more recently, the Hollow Men and Utopia. They just did such amazing stuff. Their animated series, it had potential, but it relied on really kind of shit stereotypes, particularly racial stereotypes, but also sex stereotypes. I was thinking, okay, this has clear potential, but what the fuck are you guys doing? I was just like, no, 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 no. I gave, sort of cut them a bit of slack and gave it a few episodes. Like, this is occasionally funny, but reliant on this really stupid set of stereotypes. It's like, oh my God, what the fuck? Because if you're going to stylistically rip off something as good as Archer, and I mean, Archer's like one of the best animated shows out there. If you're going to rip off the best, you've got to be pretty fucking good. And they just weren't. I don't know if they'll do another season of it. If they do, I hope they just fucking cut out the ridiculous racist stereotypes. It just got embarrassing after a while. But yeah, I can almost forgive them because they do so much other good stuff. Hollow Men, Utopia. I watched a couple episodes of the most recent season of Utopia that just finished on the ABC last night, and it's good. It was. If you've never seen it, Utopia is like a spoof of like working in the public service, there's this infrastructure department, and I think about the best review you get of it is people who work for the government or work in public service saying like, oh yeah, I watched Utopia, and for the first half I was laughing because it's just like work, and then for the second half I was crying because it's just like work. It's like people were saying it's too painfully real. Their spoof of the bureaucracy was just too real, and it was really painful. But yes, hopefully if they do another series of Pacific Heat, it'll be better. Anyway, I'm going to go now, guys. Almost 10:30. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I've had a good time. We haven't had any technical problems because I've been doing it this different way. I think we're on a winner here, so that's pretty good. I'll do this again next time. So thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I've had a really good time. And we'll be doing, well, actually, probably because VidCon's on this weekend, so I probably won't have time to make or edit videos over the weekend. Probably shoot a bunch of video on the weekend. Oh, who knows what stuff will get uploaded next week. Crazy stuff. Could be a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So I thank you for joining me. Hopefully you'll join me again soon. If you haven't already, give the old live stream a thumbs up so we can fool the Google algorithm into thinking I'm popular. And I will be back and hope to see you again soon. Thanks for dropping by, everyone. Bye.